Scale, the relative ratio of size or the relationship of a composition to the surrounding area or environment. Proportion, the comparative relationship in size, quantity, and the degree of emphasis amongst components within the composition, the relationship of one proportion to another or of one proportion to the whole. When making bud vases, we typically think of this: your leather leaf behind, a couple smaller pieces in the front, and 2 or 3 roses that are terracing up to have equal gaps, or creating a triangle for the eye to be visually pleased. Can I have points on this arrangement? Probably not. You would score very high in this category, but how do we be creative and go one step above so that you can hit the creativity points, but also balance, proportion, and scale? So in this bud vase, typically we want to go at least 2 times or 1.5 times the vase. If I am looking at this vase in my mind, because you won't have 2 at the time, we can flip this over in our heads. This is 1, and up here we have 1.5. So technically, I would lose points for my proportion side. When we're going to create something in a bud vase, your only mechanic is water. Make sure you have enough time to fill your glass with water and that it's nice and clean so you keep your mechanic points. So today, we're not going to use leather leaf. We're going to use aspidistra, some lily grass, and also some baby blue eucalyptus. Here's your lily grass. We're going to use only 2 red roses and a little bit of tinted baby's breath. The first thing is we're going to actually figure out, how does this fit on a desk? Anything that goes on top of a desk or a small credenza should be relative to scale. Where do you put it inside of this room? So if we're going to go a little bit taller, so remember 1, 2 is about our height max out, because even though this has a bulbous bottom and gives us more visual weight, but also physical weight because it holds more water and expands around the bottom, we can go just a hair bit taller than our 1.5 times. So I'm going to, just to get our proportion and scale in check, we're going to do this one first. And so he's going to wobble around and do his own thing until we get some more stems in here. I have a second one to kind of mirror that, and we're going to group them together. And again, they're totally going to be not behaving with me until we get some more stuff in here. We're going to put in our roses, and I'm going to kind of look and see which one might be smaller, which one might be bigger. So this one isn't opened as much, so we'll start there. So we're going to put him at the tall. So always remember, tall and small is at the top, so TTT, and then fat, round, heavy is at the bottom. And that will help you keep your proportion in place. So if the foliage is fighting, we can remove that later. I'm going to place my second rose, and it's going to be a little bit more towards the bottom because I have a bigger gap. I'm going to place that in just so I can get a better view of what's going on and lock in some of my stems. Something fun that we're going to make next before I put the aspidistra in is a heart. So this is purely lily grass. So now you need to become a massage therapist. We're going to take your 2 fingers, and we're going to pinch on this side, and we're going to pinch on this side. And what we're doing is warming up the stem, so make sure they are room temperature before you start this. And what we're doing is breaking down that hard vein in the back side. So just keep doing that until you start seeing this ribbon-like curl. Take and do that with your second one. Okay, and now I see a little curl. And then I actually found some extra stems of Israeli ruscus sitting around. So if you're always in trouble, grab the scrap pile or look on the floor, right? So I'm going to use that as my actual stick or pick. I'm going to create a half a heart on one side. If you're not very good with your fingers yet and everything's a little slippery, grab your flower tape and just tape a little bit off, just about 1 inch to lock that in place. Grab your second side, make your other half of your heart. Get it in there, okay? And then you're gonna tape down the whole thing. So keep those mechanics nice and clean. Don't give them anything to take your points away. Being that it's a competition, we don't need to put this in water. And if they can't see it, we didn't do it, right? So hide all of your mechanics. Place that inside. And we're aiming for right here on the side. All right? So this is not finished by any means, right? We need something to kind of tie all of this together, bring those dark, dark greens together. So I believe we can do the same thing with Aspidistra. So this is also called iron plant. And again, give it a really, really good massage, especially in this tight area where it's going from leaf to stem. And just really pull down on that. And then we're actually going to cut to have a nice sharp angle. Roll it again just to make sure we got enough so we don't rip it or bend. And we're going to pop this. So I've got a little circle in there. Actually, going to lift out my rose just a tiny hair. So now I have something of interest. And I have some movement also inside of here. I have a filler flower, that's our tinted baby's breath, and that is also going to fall inside of here. Again, make sure all your stems are super clean because those are actually looked at. When we don't have much to judge you on, we look at everything. So place your baby's breath inside of here. Your heavier cluster of flowers is going to go towards the bottom. And kind of spread it out a little bit. If it's too heavy, you can clip it and edit it. So just pull it around, give it some air, pull that heart to exactly where you want it to see, the customer to see it. And then we're going to straighten these out so all the tips are facing in the right direction. And if you have a little bit of slack still left in the bud base, because believe it or not, you can fit a lot in there, you could do just a fold and up. And then if you have a wire on hand, you can just pop it all the way through, go through the vein and pop it back, if it'll play with me. Is it bent? Pop back, catch it again. And so you have this little tiny hairpin in the back. Give it a clip because we don't want to see those mechanics. Cut it off. And then we're going to place it nice side out to the back. And so I'm going to hold this, push everything in, and push it down. So as you can see, we are looking at our proportion is very heavy at the bottom, very light at the top. And then we also have a little creative interest. I'm just going to double check that we can see that it says Happy Valentine's Day.